Good evening and welcome to a Meldon Law Monday. I'm Buddy Barton. The program is about to go on the air. We'll have Shane Matthews is in the orange and blue room as we speak. And the SEC teams just keep playing musical chair quarterbacks. I can't say it. Yeah, people moving around a lot. And Tennessee apparently found a quarterback today. We'll talk to Shane about that. This is the way it is. And not good news on the basketball front. Florida's lost some players, not the least of which is Denzel Aberdeen going to, oh my goodness, Kentucky. Now, I'm sorry. I know it's business. That just doesn't sit well with me. We'll talk to Shane about it. He probably says it's okay. It's not okay with me, all right? Is that okay with you? We'll hear from Scott Carter later and, of course, Franz Beard will pick us up on the basketball scene. So stay tuned and tell your friends and neighbors. The Buddy Martin Show is on the air.
Yes, it's time again for Buddy Martin. Call him up and tell him what you're thinking. But be kind because he's doing the best he can.
Better, stronger, faster.
Mama says that alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth but no toothbrush.
Hey, what if the voice calls while you're gone?
Take a message.
Bye!
You ready, champ?
I'm ready for this my whole life.
I'm incapable of small talk. But that's why you love me, right?
Kind of intimidating to be in the presence of so many great athletes.
Good evening and welcome to the program. Yeah, it's musical chairs on quarterbacks these days. A lot going on in the world of basketball, some movement there. I had a nice Easter weekend, spent a lot of it watching a lot of ball, baseball, softball, catching up. And I know that Shane kept up with his good friend and coach of the softball team, Tim Walton, who had some success, very exciting softball. Quite a good weekend for baseball. And, hey, I even got some Rays games in on top of that. Catching up for me. Shane, how was your Easter?
It was good, buddy. Very good. I hope everybody had a good Easter.
Yeah, I hope they did. It was unfortunate for our Catholic friends that the Pope died on Easter Day. He was a tremendous man, and he did a lot of great things. 88 years old. R.I.P. to Pope Francis. Shane, did you have a chance to watch? I'm sure you watched some of the softball. Maybe some baseball. What'd you do this weekend?
Played a lot of golf. I was going to go to softball. I was going to go to softball, but my schedule got screwed up. But yeah, they took 2 out of 3. Rothrock didn't pitch well on Thursday, but pitched really well on Saturday.
She did.
And gotta have her. Got 2 series left. We go to. Gosh, I don't know where we go, but then we host Oklahoma at the end of the year here. Yeah. So I think we're 2 games out of first place. SEC softball's tough, just like baseball. So they can make a deep run as long as Keegan Rothrock is ready to roll.
Yeah, she was a rock end. Boy, how about that freshman Shoemaker? 2 home runs in 1 game. She's terrific, isn't she?
Yeah, she's probably the best natural hitter Tim's ever had.
Really? You talked to Coach Walton recently?
Yeah, we text here and there. I'll go to the OU series. And then obviously they'll host a regional and hopefully a super regional.
Yeah. So they hit the ball pretty good and they made some great plays, came from behind. I thought maybe they were inspired by the basketball team, the way they came from behind. But to beat Alabama, and of course, the baseball team did the same thing. They won those first 2 games in Mississippi State, which is a tough place to play, and they got some new blood there at bat. Brady Dene hit 3 dingers in that series, and they came from behind several times and overcame. Mississippi State won the last game and was able to keep from getting swept. But baseball team, I think they won 7 in a row, which is the longest winning streak in the SEC until then. Somebody wrote to us today. I saw that they hadn't lost a baseball game since the championship basketball game. So they had a little run going there, which gets me to the point. We'll address this again later about whether, I know you don't believe it. Coach Spurrier told me, and by the way, happy birthday to Coach on 80 on this past Sunday, that he thought that every sport stood individually. But I got some evidence and some opinions from other people that don't think that's right, that think the rising tide does raise all ships. We'll get to that in a minute, though. I want to talk about this idea that we got another situation of treason on our hands. Yeah, it's happened now. The basketball player we counted on next year, he's now going to the dreaded Kentucky team. I guess I'm not shocked. I'm really not happy. But, Shane, I'll let you get in here, but I know what you're going to say is capitalism, let them get. But, it's certain ones hurt more. Remember Jack Pyburn, how that hurt when he went to LSU? Mike White jumped ship, of course, and went to Georgia. You can talk about he had a better deal, whatever, but he still went to Georgia. Etienne was treasonous when he went to Georgia. And now this. Denzel Aberdeen is apparently taking a chance to be on a roster and not starting for Kentucky versus playing with his brothers on a national championship. They say, and I've read this someplace, he'll play behind Jalen Lowe, Owe, and Jasper Johnson. I mean, is that a good move?
Look, we don't know what he got paid. I mean, in today's world, it's all about how much money you're going to get paid. And, there's been reports out there that he got over $2 million. I don't know if it's true or not, but that's a lot of money. Look, I get it. I'd love for Denzel to be playing for us next year, but, I mean, our three main core of our national championship team, buddy, transferred in from other schools. So you get some and you lose some, and it's just that's the way sports are today in college athletics, and you just got to deal with it.
Yeah, no, that's what you say, but I don't think you have to accept that. You are a consumer, and you have a voice. I thought about this today, and I knew what you're going to say, and I understand what you're saying, and there's an element of truth to that, but I don't have to like it. And if it's a business now, and that's what they call it, it's a business now, okay? Well, some businesses that change their philosophies drive their customers away. They do. There are businesses who are founded on principle, who stand on principle. And I know this is all brand new. This is a lot of money. I wouldn't tell my son not to take the money. I'm just saying, I thought about this today. What if I don't like it? What if I'm a season ticket? I don't like it. I have a right to express myself, too, about it. And I'm going to say this. There have been businesses who changed their policies, and they've lost business because of it. And I got a couple in mind, which I'll tell you about, but you go ahead and respond to that.
Well, I think, look, I mean, I don't know the whole operations or whatever, but I can understand fans being upset about it. But your coach just put together one of the best teams we've ever had, if not the best. You have to trust his evaluation process, right?
But Shane didn't come off national championship teams. They had an upgrade. They have, these guys played for a national championship team.
Right. And so my point to the story is maybe Todd Golden and his staff think that whoever they have coming in is better than Denzel Aberdeen. And this is not a shot at Denzel, but I think as a fan base, we don't know what happened behind closed doors. I'm sure Todd and them said, "Look, we'd love to have you back, but these are the guys that are going to start." I don't know, but Denzel wants to play probably. Whether he goes there and plays or backs up, I don't know the answer to any of this. I'm just saying everybody was upset when Trevor Etienne left. Okay, did we miss him? No, not at all. The players were better than him. Our running backs are better than Trevor Etienne. So I think if the coaches wanted him bad enough, they would have made the push and got the NIL money. That's my belief.
I hear you, and I go, you can't turn back the clock. But if you were playing on your team, let's say you were playing on the 96 team, okay, Florida, you played on the 1990 team, but if you had Riedel Anthony and Ike and Quezzy, and two of them went to play for Georgia or LSU, you'd be furious about it. Be furious
Well,
about it.
yes and no, but I would say, okay, my college head coach is letting them go for a reason. Now, he may have tried everything possible in his power to keep them on the roster, but they chose to leave, and he chose to let them leave. So that's just, it's no different than when the NFL goes to cut players. And that's how college sports is now. When you have your exit meeting, you say, okay, this is where we think you stand in our program, and this is what we think. You can either – Jack Poburn's a prime example of this, right?
Yeah.
We did not feel like he was good enough to keep around and pay because he can't rush the passer. I'm going to trust my coaches on that. Do I think he's a good little football player? Yes. But you got to trust the people in charge that see these guys on a daily basis, and that's what I'll do.
All right, so you're looking at it from the coach's standpoint. I'm looking from the standpoint of the fans.
The fans have to understand. Okay, again, I go back to we just won a national title. I believe if you're not a fan and don't think Ty Golden knows what he's doing, you're a clueless fan.
Well, I don't think that's the issue here. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the manner in which they did it. And when you throw those names out there, you think, well, this guy went and that. You can't tell me they didn't want to keep Denzel Aberdeen. I mean,
we don't know.
Well, look, Shane, were you surprised he was going to Kentucky? Were you?
No, I'd heard that he was going to go to the portal a week or two ago.
I know that, but I'm saying, did you think it would be Kentucky?
I mean, Kentucky has probably got the greatest tradition of any basketball program by far in the SEC.
Yeah.
Have they won a lot recently? No, but I mean, I don't fault the kid. I go back to it. I guess I look at it differently. I am a fan. I like Denzel. I think he was a prime part of this basketball team. However, I'm going to trust my coach. They feel like whoever they're bringing in or has brought in is better than Denzel.
That's not an issue for me in terms of the coach. It's called bedside manner. It's called the fans, and the fans – they have no idea. They're in the dark. They see a guy they love is going to be the team leader coming back next year. All of a sudden, he's going to Portland, and then he's going to go to Kentucky. It sucks, okay? And I'm not saying that maybe there was some underlying reason. And you say, well, you can't blame him for, okay, you can't blame him, but don't expect me to buy his jersey. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to. I'm going to give you an example. It's probably not a good one. But there was a time. Publix is a great institution in Florida. Right? Would you say that's a great institution? Public store is huge success, right?
You mean the grocery store?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more than the grocery store. It's a special place to those of us who grew up with it. Publix is the bomb. And it has, for lots of reasons. It's a company that's founded in Florida by George Jenkins of Winter Haven. And they've been a great company. They've been a great partner. They've been great in cities and whatever. And they have done a fabulous job. They're one of the Gator sponsors now. But they didn't used to be open on Sundays, right? That was their policy until 1982. They changed their policy. Why? To make more money. It didn't bother most people, but there are some people that did bother because there's some people who don't think that they ought to be open on Sunday, right or wrong. I'm just saying that's how they feel. Along comes Chick-fil-A, a great company, just killing it. They don't open their doors on Sunday. They let their people off to go to church, whatever it may be. And that, as I think, is a winning strategy. And you can't get anybody to say anything bad about Chick-fil-A. Policies change, people change. Now, I have the right. If I don't want to shop at Publix, I can go to Winn-Dixie or whatever, and if that bothers me. But the question becomes, will there ever be another business? And let's face it, this is what we got now, business, that is founded on principle and not just hardcore money. They tell you no. The NBA is hard. Oh, no, you got to have money, money, money. Well, let's see where that leads us down the trail or we're going now. That's where we are. We didn't want it that way. That's what the courts made us do. And it's really difficult. You say, well, when is enough enough? When does a fan get to say, time out? I don't like this. I'm sitting this year out, whatever. I don't know that fans are strong enough to do that, but there's going to be a lot of balking going on. So I'm just going to put me down as the guy that's not happy that players can fold up their tents, playing for their brothers, winning championships. They had a great team in the best sense of the word. They were a team in every sense of the word. And Walter Clayton Jr. was the leader of that, and the rest of them were. And those three senior guards, they had something special. We know what the winning formula is for champions. Shane, you know it. It's when you put team above self. Will we ever see that day again?
Well, we saw it this year with the basketball team. Doesn't mean we won't see it next year.
We did see it, but now we aren't going to see it.
We could see it easily. They could win it back to back. It doesn't have to be the same players. I think, again, I know nothing. I'm just going from a fan standpoint. Maybe we did not want Denzel back.
I can't believe that's possible.
I'm just saying, could it be a possibility in their exit meeting? Todd Golden says, we're signing Xavier Lee. He's going to be my starting point guard. Yeah. Boom. That right there, it happens in the National Football League yearly. You see your favorite player that plays for this team. The next year, he's in free agency and he goes to the huge rival. Okay. That's not because the player chose it. It's because that the player did choose to leave. But I don't know what I'm trying to say right now. I'm just trying to say is there are no contracts in college athletics. So you're going to continue to see this because the player will never be penalized. People want to talk about coaches leaving and bouncing around. There's a penalty when a coach leaves. There's called a buyout. Until they get contracts and they have buyouts, this is going to be a disaster.
Don't you think they will have one day?
Oh, I don't know if they will or not. I don't see you're going to have buyouts for players. You're going to see them have contracts, and then
we'll get to. It's the only way that can happen. They've got to have contracts, and then whatever.
Because it's not. It's a mess right now. I don't care what anybody says. This has nothing to do with the dollar amount. It's about principle and Xavier Lee. Let's use you, DJ, for example. DJ could have a great year this year and he not be our quarterback next year, right? That's a fact. That could happen. Okay, but how stupid it is that he has the opportunity to go where he wants to go when we should have his rights and he should be under contract. Now, if we want to part ways with him and say we're going to release you from your contract, like they do in the National Football League all the time. It's called getting cut, getting fired. Then you're a free agent. But that is not in college athletics right now, and that's why it's a disaster, what's going on.
Did you enjoy this basketball season?
Oh, yeah, it was great.
I said
at the Gasparilla Bowl, I'll go to my grave. I said it was the best team I've seen the Florida Gators have with the best player they've ever had. And that was on December the 20th. So, yeah, but we're not only we're losing. Sam Alexis is leaving too. Okay, he played at the beginning of the year a lot.
Well, Sam Alexis is not Denzel Aberdeen.
Okay, but again, maybe Todd Golden and the staff and the exit meeting says, Denzel, this is who's going to be our starting point guard.
Yeah, see, that's
Denzel
the thing.
may have said, I don't want to be a backup anymore.
All right, Xavier Lee said it was not about playing time when he came there. He said his decision was not about playing time, and it's been said also that Denzel said it wasn't about playing time for him either. So I don't know.
Then it's about money then.
No doubt. No
doubt.
But I, as a fan, I'm the consumer. I have the right to say I don't like this.
Well, that's fine. If we win the national championship next year, nobody's going to care if Denzel was on our team or not.
But I'm not. I'm never going to be that mercenary. Those are the things that have got to matter. And Shane, you were the epitome of the team player.
Buddy, that's true. But we also, we had guys that transferred it back in the. I look at Eric Kresser. Eric Kresser could have set his ass here and never played it down. He transferred to Marshall and won a national title.
Because he wasn't going to play here. He wasn't going to play.
Okay. Well, we don't know how much Denzel's going to play. Eric played in some games. Eric had a couple of records.
I'm going to ask Franz. I think it was going to be his team. But anyway, now I like Xavier and Lee a lot just based on the video. Just let the record show. I have not been wrong when I said these guys are going to be great, including DJ Lagway. All right. And I've seen enough of him to see his moves and see what he can do and what he can shoot. He is a special player. And, and that meant he's going to have to play the point guard position. Anyway, we don't know who else coming back. I just want to be a grumpy old man about some things. I just don't like the way things are going there. And
but can I ask again? I'm going to ask you again, buddy.
Yeah.
Were you upset when Trevor Etienne went to Georgia?
I was.
Okay. Did you get over it, and did you care?
I didn't get over it. No.
You didn't?
No.
Did you think our running backs that we had, Jacoby Jackson, Jaden Ball, Trayon Webb, and those guys were better than him?
But that's not the story. The story is the act of betrayal.
Not really, because sometimes it's good to get rid of people on your team.
Well, I thought what he did. I mean, look, to me, it will always be treason when you go to Georgia. It's just, to me, that's the way it is. Mike White, same thing. Are they better without Mike White? Yeah, but he chose Georgia, and that's not okay with me as a fan. I get it from a standpoint. I was a journalist, and as a business sense.
It's funny because
I don't like it.
I know. I would say this. I didn't think he became a very good player, and he still may be playing in the NFL. Did you care that the kid that was the pass rusher that came to us from Georgia, did that bother you?
Which one? Well, I don't care about Georgia. I don't care about Georgia.
Right, but he played at Georgia and transferred to us, and he was our starting number one. I can't even remember his name. I'm sure your listeners.
I never care when someone jumps from Georgia to Florida. I care when they jump from Florida to Georgia.
Okay, well, that doesn't make.
I'm not a Georgia fan. Okay, I don't care. I mean, my point is, I think if you poll the Gator fans, they'd all say they understand it, but they don't like it. And that's how I feel. I understand it. I don't like it. I don't like it when a player that embedded. I mean, can you imagine Spurrier to go coach at Georgia or Alabama or someplace back when you were there?
Well, you're putting the greatest Gator of all time. I mean, we're talking about that's not even a good comparison, buddy.
Well, I'm just trying to tell you how deep it runs. Of course, Spurrier would be different. I understand that. I'm not stupid. I've been watching this ball for a long, long time, and I've seen things happen. And there are some cases where they are better off leaving, and there are some cases where they've been asked to leave. If you're asked to leave, my good friend Fred Pancos, who coached Carlos and John Reeves and whatever, and recruited John Reeves, he wound up going to Georgia as a backfield coach. They didn't retain him. Doug Dickey didn't keep him. He had to get a job, and he went to Georgia, and then he went to Memphis. I understand the game. You go – look, I was offered a job at FSU. I can't say I was offered. I was interviewed. They interviewed me for the job as sports information director a long time ago at FSU. And I went and took the interview. I wasn't offered it, and I doubt I would have taken it. But that would have been treason to a lot of people. But I'm not a player. I'm not someone's a player. I just think, I don't know. Let's see if they can actually forgive these guys, because Gator fans have a long memory when it involves Georgia. All right, that's enough of that talk. I know I wouldn't get any cooperation out of you.
Well, I'm not cooperating. I just don't think it's that big a deal.
No, I know you don't, but I want you to care about it.
Well, I care about us winning, and I trust my coaches. I trust Todd Golden and his staff that he's going to have us the best players that they think they're going to win for us.
Yeah.
That's all you can do.
Yeah, well, I understand what you're saying. Let me tell you about Meldon Law real fast. And Franz is going to join. We'll ask him. He's got the latest. Also, Florida's looking at another point guard. Let me tell you about my good friends at Meldon Law. If you don't know by now, you should if you listen to this program, because we think they're special people. We love what they do. We love that Jeffrey's such a huge Gator supporter. They're the only official law firm, injury law firm for the University of Florida. Jeffrey's a super Gator. You got to be sure and visit his Facebook page. They give away great stuff there, tickets, goodies, what have you. And they're usually loaded up. So if you're looking for something like those hard to get tickets, that they'll probably have them there. Go to Meldon Law if you need help in the law business. I've had help in that department. Very pleased. Maybe you want to have someone review your legal case. They're all there for you, especially Gators. They have 4 locations to serve you now. Ocala, Gainesville, Williston, Lake City. Check them out. Meldon Law. They won't back down. Let's see what this guy says about Denzel Aberdeen and whether or not he's surprised, shocked, or if he thinks the Gators didn't want him back. He was offered apparently a lot of money. So let's go talk to Franz and see what he has to say. Good evening to you, Franz. I'm enjoying your series on the championship run. Say good evening to Shane Matthews, QB.
Hey, Shane. What's up, dude?
What's going on, Franz?
Another day in paradise, bud. Denzel going to Kentucky was a little bit of a surprise, but they got to have a point guard. They basically ran everybody else off their team. The guy that they intended to be the point guard, a guy named Kirk Creesa, basically told him to take a leap and left for Cincinnati of all places. So they had to have a point guard, and they got Denzel. He's going to be good for them. I don't think Kentucky's going to be as good as Wildcat fans expect their team to be. But, they'll win a lot of ball games. They're Kentucky. They'll make Kentucky can lose 12 games and still be a top 4 seed because they're Kentucky. And the NCAA knows they're going to sell out wherever they are. So that's it. But look, is it a loss for Florida? Yeah. Is it a huge loss?
Was it a surprise to you that he was going to Kentucky? Do you think Todd wanted him back, and how bad? Was it just a case of money? I'm hearing all kinds.
No, it's totally about money. Completely about money. It had nothing to do with anything else except the money. He thought that being the guy, going to be the guy, at least he thought so, that he deserved a lot of money. And then they got Xavier Lee and paid Xavier Lee more money than they were going to pay him. It's a matter of, okay, I want at least as much as this guy's getting. And when he didn't get it, he bolted. So
but they all said that the playing time had nothing to do with that.
No, it didn't. And trust me, he didn't get as much money as he wanted from Florida at Kentucky. Now, he got a lot of money just the same. I mean, goodness, believe it or not, I've lived on less money than what he'll make next year as a 21-year-old college kid. But just the same. The thing it does, though, is it really opens the door up, and Florida's got some dudes that can play who want to come play basketball here.
Yeah.
I got to tell you what, they had a couple guys that came on the portal today that I really, really love. This kid named Trent McLaughlin from Northern Arizona averaged 22 points a game. He came on today. Julian Hammond out of Colorado, who is a solid guy, came out today. The guys are coming out that there. So there's not a shortage of point guards. What they got to find is a point guard that can also play off the ball. That's the hard part. Finding just a point guard is not that difficult to do. Finding the guy that is as comfortable playing both spots is that's the hard part, and that's what they want. because they want to play Xavier Lee off the ball some too. He's too good of a shooter and too good of a driver not to, he moves so well without the ball, in other words, that you gotta play him off the ball somewhat to give him other opportunities to score. But you got to have a guy that can do both, and that's going to be the hard part, is to find that guy. That's why I really, really like this guy, Trent McLaughlin. I like this guy, Julian Hammond, a lot. Point guard came out of Clemson today. Clemson's losing everybody today.
Baylor lost their entire team. You know that.
Yeah, well, today was everybody crap on Clemson day. I'll tell you, there's another guy that Florida. I hope this is a guy I really would like to see them get, and he's transferring out of North Carolina, a guy named Cade Tyson, and we just barely missed on him at last summer because he chose North Carolina over Florida. He's from Belmont, which is where Will Richard came from. And he shot 46.5% from 3 points at Belmont last year. But this past year, he was just a bad fit at North Carolina. Hubert had no idea what to do with him, and it showed. But he's 6'7". He's a great shooter. He's a guy that's available out there. This kid, Cedric Coward, it's going to be either Florida or Alabama, I think, for him. He's out of Washington State. Chris Parker, 6'8" kid out of Villanova. It's either going to be Florida, Miami, or Florida State for him. Another guy I really would like to see the Gators get is a guy named Davidas Budka. He's a freshman from Pepperdine. He's a Lithuanian kid. He reminds everybody of the guy, the Lithuanian guy, Domantas Sabonis, who's with the Sacramento Kings. Domantas Sabonis' dad, if not for 3 torn Achilles tendons.
Let me interrupt you right there. Shane, sounds like Franz fines for this, like he's got a bunch of players. Are you getting?
Well, here's what I'll say is I watch a lot of college basketball. There are thousands and thousands of good guard play in the country. You can find a bunch of good guards, in my opinion. I don't know all their names, but again, I go back to I trust Todd Golden and his staff, their evaluation process. They'll have some good dudes at the guard position for us.
Oh, you're absolutely correct. There will be a lot of good guards.
Yeah.
There are a lot of good guards out there.
Because I don't like the fact that he went to Kentucky, but that's just me. Let me switch subjects fast, Shane, with the Franz, and I'm going to get back to you. Let's talk to football. Tennessee now apparently has a quarterback. Tennessee traded quarterbacks with UCLA. Joey Aguilar now is transferred with Tennessee. He played with, who was the team he played with, Shane?
App State.
Yeah, App State, yeah.
He's a good player. He's, in my opinion, because you get to see App State play a lot of those, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night games.
Yeah.
I think he's better than Nico, quite honestly.
Do you?
From what I've seen. I've not studied tape, but just the few games that I've watched and the few games I've seen of Nico, this kid's a good player. He's a more consistent player, and I think he's a good fit at Tennessee. He can run the football too. That's another issue.
Buddy, he's got some size too. I don't know. Everybody seems to think that these guys that come out of these smaller schools are like the guys that were like 6'1" and or 6 feet tall. And the reason that they're at the small schools is because they didn't have the appropriate size. This guy's 6'3", 6'4", and about 225 pounds, and he's a specimen.
His bio says he threw for more than 3,000 yards both years at App State and ranked on the highest total in the Sun Belt.
He threw for 3,700 as in 2023, 3,000 last year.
23 touchdowns, 14 games, and Mountaineers finished 9-5. Anyway, just a little bio. So anyway, it looks like they swapped quarterbacks. There's another. How do you say his name? Iamaleava. Iamaleava. How do you say his name?
Yeah, Iamaleava.
Iamaleava. I'm leaving. Iamaleava. He has a little brother, and he's
His name's
also
Madden of all things,
yeah,
named after the coach.
and he's flipped from Arkansas to Arkansas from UCLA in December, and now he's flipping again, I guess. Anyway, I can't keep up. It's hard. It's very hard. Anyway, so football stuff happening. Like I said, while everybody's playing musical chairs with quarterbacks, Florida's quarterback taking their his lineman to Spurrier for dinner. Shane, what did you think of that little unique little thing he did there, taking his big guys to eat some chow at Spurrier's?
Well, that's what quarterbacks do. I think you see it now going down to the college level because the kids have money they can spend. I used to take my linemen to Sonny's All You Can Eat because it was like $5.95, and I could afford about $30 to feed them. There's no way in hell I could take them to Spurs. I can promise you that.
Yeah, smart. And of course, in National Football League, that's always something you do.
Shane, they'd have paid you $2 million back if you had come along now and were doing what you did then. You'd be, as a senior, you'd be making about $2 million.
Yeah.
I would hold out. I would hold out, Franz.
You'd be making more. You would make more money back as the quarterback at Florida than you made in the NFL for a long
Well,
time.
DJ's making more than I made, and I think in my entire career.
Yeah, you can't even go there. You can't even go there. It's amazing.
But can he carry a clipboard like as well as you did?
Well,
no, I'm talking about he's making more in college than I made in all my.
Yeah.
But
Shane had to have side hustles.
The backup QBs in the NFL now make crazy money.
Yeah,
but
apparently Madden is going. He's told. Let me get this straight. Told Arkansas he's planning on entering the transfer portal. Let me get that straight. I got that wrong. He's a 4-star. That's the Madden in my living. Let me ask you. First of all, happy birthday to Coach. I know everybody's wishing him that. He agreed he should get everything we say about him. Lots of stories, and I know Shane. I saw several comments you made, and I wrote he was the greatest skater, and he is the greatest skater. And what a great time it is to have him around. And I guess he went out and had a good round of golf. He told me last week. Bubba played with Bubba, and he played with the defensive line coach and somebody else. And life is good for him. I said, Coach, life is good. He said, buddy, life has always been good. He's right about that. But there is one point I want to say. I want you guys to adjudicate this for me. I disagree with him. I've seen this happen. And I was watching, I like to watch American Idol. I'm sorry, I like it. But the thing about performers, and I love music, is they feed off the energy of their crowds. And you constantly hear Carrie Underwood. Boy, she was amazing last time. She sounded how great they are to you. Oh my gosh. But the crowd gets all buzzed. They get all buzzed. And Lionel Richie's always saying, use that energy. Shane, you played. I think I've seen this. I already saw it with Tebow, how he energized crowds. And I think if that's the case, then why can't those same Gator fans who were so excited about basketball get all buzzed about football? And Billy had a quote to that effect this past week that he thought it did help. Coach Spurrier says, no, each sport is individual. I don't think I agree with that. Shane, do you?
Your question is that the crowd is going to be.
The crowd can carry over from one sport to the other.
Well, I thought we had great crowds. I thought our crowds were outstanding last year in football. I mean, I think people are excited. Gator fans are excited because we won a national title. I mean, those don't you don't do those every year.
But the way they won it, the way they played, and how they had it
was a. I mean, you don't see those type of teams come around, and I think the fans are excited because of the way the football season ended. I think they're excited after they've seen the good young early enrollees in the spring game, and I mean, I think the crowds would be great. I thought they were phenomenal last year, quite honestly, in the Swamp.
Best we get. Stay hot, Gator boys. And that was the gift from Walter. They'll hear that a lot, that mantra. Franz, what's your take on that? We've seen it happen before.
Oh yeah, and here's the thing. I thought the way the football season ended bled into December with basketball too, because all of a sudden you get game with like North Florida and Stetson back to back. I mean, terrible teams. Late December at the O-Dome games, the Gators are going to win by a bazillion points. And more than 10,000 people showed up at each game. And I think that the excitement from football carried over. And I just think sometimes you just get on a roll with things, with sports in particular at a college level. And a whole town gets excited. And I think that's what's happening in Gainesville. Is I think the whole town is starting to get excited about sports again. Championships do that for you. Winning does that for you. And I think that gosh, I remember the first game Shane played. The stadium was filled up with people against Oklahoma State. We win that game, what was it, 50-7, something like that. And I think you threw your first 4 completions were just bloop, bloop, bloop. And then who was the big guy from Baxley? Cedric Smith ran it in.
No, Dexter McNabb.
Dexter McNabb ran it in for the touchdown. The next week when the Gators played, I mean, my gosh, you just couldn't contain the excitement. And it just crescendoed the rest of the year. And I think things like that happen. I think people get excited. I think entire communities get the excitement that you see, the momentum that you build. I think it carries over. I've always believed that.
Here's a good example. Jenny Rowland from gymnastics. She came out with the Spurrier outfit when they played Georgia and used that to motivate her players. Well, there's a definite example of one sport helping the other. When you get the fans excited, even in a concert about something, they lift their awareness up. They become more involved and committed. I remember when Ray Graves came here in 1960, how terrible football had been under Bob Woodruff. Fans were so beaten down. And when Graves came out there and goes and just Georgia Tech holds up 2 fingers like go for 2, that was brand new. You had a guy, Bob Woodruff, who literally, Shane, can you imagine being tied 10-10 against Rice and you having the ball at midfield and running out the clock?
If I mean, again, I don't know who was playing in those days, but
I can tell you.
The forward pass wasn't a primary play back in those days.
Well, now, wait a minute. They had a guy named Haywood Sullivan at one point. He was a hell of a player. He was a hell of a header, but he wasn't playing that night. But
Larry Liberatore used to shot put the ball.
Well, that was the game that John Macbeth called it, to go for 2 against Georgia Tech, and they won it. But my point is that whole genre of fans, when they beat Georgia Tech, that was a huge win for the Florida program by going for 2 and winning that game. It set the tone for the whole year. The fans, Franz, you were a little bit too young, but I can tell you, it definitely got the fan base excited for everything. So it does happen. So, but Shane has a heartbeat of about 10, so he doesn't know. He doesn't experience all that. So he thinks fans are just a bunch of idiots. So
I did not say that, buddy. I just said that. Said you got to trust your coach, and I wish Denzel. I would love for him to be a Gator, but I feel like Todd Gold and them think that they're going to bring in better players than him, and they'd love to have him back. But if he has an opportunity to make a lot of money elsewhere, there's no contract, right? He's not under contract, so he can go where the hell he wants to go.
I'm just going to block a guy because you put on your Gainesville as a SHT hole of the South. You know, buddy, go somewhere else. We don't want you here. You're blocked. Anyway, So Shane, you grew up at Ole Miss, rooting for all the Ole Miss quarterbacks. They had some great ones. Your daddy was a player for Ole Miss. It's a little different for you, but I guarantee you, had you stayed at Ole Miss, you'd feel very similar in this regard. You still root for Ole Miss, and you should, because that was your school. But you have become part of Gator lore. You turned this program around. It's on your shoulders and your strength and your ability and what you did there in 1990. And Coach Spurrier and you had a great camaraderie that should always be something we should remember. And I know you're proud of that. And I know you're a big fan, whatever. But you're right about the business part. Do you get a little discouraged sometimes about that, Shane?
I've never been a fan of the pay for play. If an NIL was what it was for, name, image, and likeness, the commercials, the car dealers, the card signings, jersey sales, that type of stuff. But there's no parameter. I mean, it's a mess, buddy. I don't even remember what you asked me because it just gets me so riled up.
Yeah, well,
because it's pay for play. It's pay for play. And do the kids need to get money? Yes, but they need to be getting paid for name, image, and likeness. Yeah. Not we're going to outbid the other team because we want you to come play for us. That's not what it's supposed to be. And it drives me crazy because there are no rules. Like I told you, our quarterback could be playing for somebody else next year because there's no damn rules. Yeah. That's how dumb it is.
Yeah. Contracts are the answer.
That's it. And I love the comments from the coach. I think it was at Brooke Grambling. I talked about it last week. I think it was Grambling. He said that if his kids go up a level, that school should pay some type of buyout because he's groomed these kids. He found the diamonds in the rough. And if he loses them, he can't pay players at Grambling. But if Florida takes a player from Grambling, Florida has a lot of money. They should pay that school something. I agree with
$50,000.
I agree.
That goes a lot of money. That will go a long way, Grambling. Contract. When I talked with Jay Wright at San Antonio, he pointed out. He says we got to have contracts. Period. Yep. He thinks that the only way it's going to work, and I've been advocating this for a long time, is you're going to have to start a brand new organization because for the NCAA to try to implement contracts, salary caps, etc. right now, it probably will get challenged in court. But if you have a brand new organization out there that starts with its own rules, then everybody can say, yes, we come in here and we voluntarily accept these rules. You can get away with a new organization, but we need one anyway. The NCAA is a bunch of idiots. Remember Bosworth's T-shirt, Shane? National communists against athletes.
Yeah.
Goodness, I mean, how much truth was there to that?
Well, that's not a government. What money we make today selling those shirts?
What's that?
I said, no telling how much money he can make in today's world selling those shirts.
You ever sell T-shirts, Shane?
Yeah, I've sold T-shirts.
On the side, that you made?
Oh, no, not when I was playing. I mean, that's the company I work for. We do that. That. No.
Well, I've got some hats I ordered from you, and they're in Ocala, and they're paid for. I intend to get them at some point in time. But
well, you gave me the shipping address in Ocala.
One day I couldn't get it. I wouldn't ship it here because I've lost all kinds of things, including an entire. I won't go into it. Whole Starlink system, 3 checks, whatever. So anyway, I'll shout out to my man Dexter McNabb from up this way, Definiak Springs. Yep. You know what that's famous for, friends?
Dexter McNabb's hometown.
Not my family is famous because my grandmother, who went to college at 20 years old in 1910, nobody went to college there, even guys, was on a train in Definiak, and a guy came in from Florala who was a conductor and also a writer, and walked in and physically bumped in to Mary Evelyn Thomas. and his name was William Blaven Martin, my grandfather. That's where they met at defeating experience. So that's why it's famous. Dexter Magdab, shout out. All right, Shane, before I let you go and I want to get with Franz on his current series, I recommend that if you have not read it, to do so. Franz is going to take us through. And there you go, Franz. Shane, here's a fun and gun. You got any fun and gun stuff?
I did sell a bunch of that back in the day.
Yeah, entrepreneur. All right, who's on your program in the morning? And what are your final thoughts about anything?
Well, buddy, you're going to be on there. No, I mean, it's I understand fans are upset about Denzel going to Kentucky. Todd Golden will have a good player to replace him. I really believe that. I think there's so many good guards around the country. And heck, we need baseball to win about 7 games in the next couple of weeks, and softball has 2 series left, and then they'll be in postseason play. And before we know it, we'll be talking about SEC Media Days.
It's right. Is it true that no team has ever started out 0-7 and gone to the World Series? I thought I heard him said last night on the broadcast. No team ever started.
Well, we're going to have to pitch the ball a little bit better to get to the World Series.
No, I understand that. I'm just saying that would be amazing. This team is left for dead, and they do have a long way to go. Anyway, all right, Shane, see you in the morning. And tomorrow morning, Shane's going to reveal to us, the point guard Florida's going to be able to get to.
We got Xavier and Lee. We got others coming. I don't know who they are. I'll let Franz do all that.
Hayden, keep the name in mind, Hayden Gray.
I can't remember. It's too much.
He's the point guard from UC San Diego. They went 30-5 this year. And
they can only put 5 on the court at a time. That's all I care about right now. I can't. My mind won't take it. Good night, Shane. Thank you, buddy.
All right. See.
All right. Shane Matthews, host of morning program, Pot Up with Matthews. All right, Franz, take me to the series you're doing on Gator basketball. It's currently running on Gator Bait. Great job. It's a lot of great detail in there. You could probably write a 10-part series, and you've only gotten us now to the first part of the year. You haven't even gotten to the tournament yet.
No, we're going to start tomorrow with the what happened. They had just beaten Tennessee, and we're taking February. The Arkansas game through the disaster in Knoxville tomorrow, and you have these games that are turning points during a season, buddy. I think the Kentucky game, which was a loss, was a turning point game because these guys realized that we can score on anybody, but you got to get stops.
You pointed out what the defense was exposed then and what they had to do, knew what they had to do after the Kentucky game. That was a tough loss.
Yeah. The loss to Tennessee up there turned out to be, if there's such a thing as a good loss, that was it, even though they lost by 20. And here's why. Walter got hurt. Denzel had to play the point against Vandy the next game. In that game, Elijah Martin gets hurt. Walter comes back. Denzel and Walter play off each other because Elijah Martin misses 3 ball games. We had these injuries, and you look at the fact that these guys persevered through the injuries. So that loss to Tennessee turned into being a really good loss because of the fact that it made Denzel Martin played with such confidence afterward. Then you get Condon going down and Alexis going down there at Mississippi State later on. We won the game, but look what happens after that. Tommy Hawk all of a sudden has to step up and becomes an absolute stud that we don't win a national championship without him.
I think he might have been the biggest surprise. I think Tommy Hawk might have been the biggest surprise of all.
Micah Hanlockton, who I think.
Yeah, but he was a good player, but he wasn't around until late.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I'm just talking about it's the turns of events and how they happen.
Right.
You know, Tommy Hawk.
Everything. He played deep rebound, pass, run the break, defend. He was amazing, and he shoot the three and made his foul shots.
Yes, he did. There's a guy that shot like 46% of his free throws as a freshman, and he comes back this year, hits about 83% of his free throws. Had some really big moments too when he made critical free throws. So, you know, but Micah Hanlockton, because of the two injuries, Micah makes the decision. And I think that was from that point on, because I was on this show, I said Florida will win the national championship now because this guy brings something to the table. And he did. Even though he wasn't in great basketball shape, he will be next year. Even though he only played like 10 to 15 minutes a ball game, look at what he did during that time. Look at the rest he was able to give Ruben, to Condon, to Tommy. He gave these guys rest, and Florida didn't sacrifice defense while he's in there. My goodness, talk about a season in which things just fit. You have good, like I said, you have these losses that we can look back and say, that wasn't a bad loss, like the Georgia loss. Yeah. We lose at Georgia, but what happens? We come back from like 28 down, and we almost win the damn ball game because and then we get into the NCAA tournament, and what are the Gators doing? They're coming back. 4 games they have to come back and win. My gosh. You think that would have happened without the comeback there against Georgia, without the comeback against North Carolina, for example? Games that the Gators were down. There was a game, a lot of people probably don't remember it, but against South Carolina on January 22nd, Will Richard absolutely took the game over and won it. We beat South Carolina. We were down like 14 points, I think, in that game. And Will Richard comes back and just absolutely took the game over.
Well, fans, let me get you real quick. This is an important point. I want you to make it for me. People say, well, we'll just win it again next year. Do you realize how many things have to go right to win a national championship? I don't care. You could be better and not win it because things just happen to go so well for the Gators. After a tough year and getting some lousy calls and bad officiating and bad breaks, turning the ball over, having injuries, they somehow rose above that. There was a certain thing, a certain chutzpah, certain character, certain drive this team had. They were able to get past, and I think Walter Clayton was a big part of that. But the fact that this could happen again, I'm afraid to tell Gator fans, probably not going to happen. You may be better, be a good team, but winning a national championship is a real tough thing to do because things got to go right for you.
I'll give you the perfect example. Getting the national championship game, we have 5 straight calls against us and a tech on Todd Golden. Now, I know a lot of people who think that Todd should have gotten tossed. I think that the reason they didn't toss him was the fact that it is a national championship game. And I don't think there's a single zebra out there that wants to have that hanging on his resume that he threw out a coach during the national championship game. But that's a game that a guy like Jamie Luckey, who's retired now, thank God for that. You know, I mean, my gosh, the coach, you know, the zebra that had a case of the red ass half the time when he's in there because of the slightest remarks. Horrible official. And but you get a guy like Jamie Luckey in a game like that, and he would have thought nothing of tossing Todd. So you think back on things like that could happen. The ball that goes through Elijah Martin's legs, and they have to show several angles of it before you're really certain that the ball didn't go off his leg and go out of bounds.
A bunch of times.
One play can make a difference in an entire season. And that's why I'm writing this series, because I want people to savor what just happened. I'm 73, buddy. I mean, it's been 18 years.
Old. You know that?
Yeah, I am.
No, you don't know old.
I mean, it was 18 years between national championships. Did I ever think it would be 18? No. I thought we'd win some more. I thought Chandler Parsons' senior year in 2011. That's a game when Jamie Luckey basically decided that the Gators weren't going to get to the Final Four. You get to the 2014 team, Scotty Wilbekin, Patrick Young, Eric Murphy, that bunch. They get to Dallas for the Final Four, and nobody can adjust to the sight lines, and we couldn't have thrown it in the ocean if we'd been standing on the end of the pier, because we could not adjust to the sight lines of AT&T Stadium, and we had the worst shooting game we've ever had. And that was a team that I think should have won the national championship.
Talk about the final part of the series, or maybe there'll be another 2 more parts. We'll see. You can get to writing, you may never know. And talk about what you think Todd Golden will wind up doing to fill the holes of this team, and what players you think he'll take.
Well, first and foremost, I think he's going to add 4 guys. I feel certain that we go to 15 scholarships next year. I don't think he'll risk Big Ollie as a walk-on next year. Let's face it, he may be a couple years before he really contributes, buddy. But how many guys are 7'9", 7'10" out there? Not too many. Do you want to take a chance of losing this guy?
No.
Not really. So you put him on scholarship. So you got 4. Because next year it expands to 15. You got to have another point guard. I think that Alex Lloyd is going to be the point guard of the future. But Alex, he's from Fort Lauderdale, Westminster in Fort Lauderdale, 4-star guy, and he's got to learn to be. He's going to be a combo guy this year, but he's good point guard of the future. I believe that. Urban Klavzar they may groom him to be a point guard too, but goodness, as pure a shot as he has,
you got to be a 2 guard.
Yeah. Do you want him with all that responsibility, or do you want him to be thinking
shots,
let it rip? Yeah. So I think they're going to add. They got to add another point guard. They're going to add AJ Brown tomorrow. AJ Brown is Isaiah Brown's older brother, and he's a 6'4", 6'5" guy that can really slash. I feel certain they're going to get the Australian kid Ben Henshaw, who is a stud. And
he's a golfer. Didn't he win the Masters?
Sounds like that was good. For the non-golfers in the bunch, there was that guy named Crenshaw.
Yeah.
My gosh, I remember him at the Partridge Inn in Augusta in 1973.
Beyond that, my confrontation with him, I'll tell that another time. Finish up your thought, and we'll tell the folks about Titan MRI. And don't forget, read this man. If you want to read basketball, what Franz is doing is kind of like what I'm doing in my book when Florida won the national championship. He's putting it in a series on Gator Bay. So you got to read this stuff, because this is Todd. He's got copious notes. He remembers the score and the time, who made the bucket and what took place. Great detail, Franz. You're doing a fabulous job. So finish that up and give us 5 more parts. We want more and more and more.
Oh, let's put it this way. There will be tomorrow's part 3. Then we'll have the rest of February, part 4. Then the SEC tournaments, part 5. And then the NCAA. We'll have at least
going.
We'll have at least 4 more, buddy.
Man, that's why the baseball columnist tell these teams he's playing hot. And he had the longest win streak in the SEC, 7-0 until Sunday night.
Yeah, this team finished. People forget this team finished 12 on a 12-game win streak, and and the thing about it is, Billy once made a comment. He said, "You got to go. You go 6-0 at the end. It doesn't mean you're the best team in the country. It just means you're the team that went 6-0.
No doubt.
The only difference is that this year, the team that went 6-0 was the best team in the country.
Yeah, that's right.
The team that went 6-0 had the best player in the country. I don't care what anybody says. Cooper Flagg is a fine basketball player and everything like that. John Broom is a fine basketball player, the best basketball player in the country, played for the best team in the country, and that was Walter Clayton Jr. And anybody, the Dookies can sit there and Dick Vitale can sit there and drool, have a puddle of drool under his chair because of Cooper Flagg, who he would. Dick Vitale would have Cooper Flagg's firstborn male child if he could. But,
Well, let me say, Franz said this before, Franz said it during, and said after, that Cooper Flagg was not the player of the year and that Walter should be. Anyway, Francis.
No, it's true. But this team was more than Walter. And this he's the greatest player in the country. But what made him the greatest player in the country was he never thought of himself as bigger than the team, and he was always happy to be part of the team. And that's what makes this series
team
so
over
fun.
Team over self. That was a precious. Franz, we got 30 seconds. I want to tell you what I wanted to do on Easter. You tell me what you did. All the best to your mom, by the way. We took a trip up to the church we got married in Mariana, and went to see my stepson's church and Tyler Ford and his wife Christy and their son Zach, and we went to church that day up there and heard a fine sermon by Tyler on the agony of Jesus on the cross, and he gave us a clinical, almost like an autopsy of Jesus. What happened to him? We tend to forget how much pain he went through with, even to a point of betrayal. So it was a wonderful reminder and sermon, and I really enjoyed being with Tyler and his family. And it was a great day for us, for Dawn and I. How about you?
Well, we had my sister came here. My mom was here. My sister was here. My sister's daughter, my niece, and her son, and so forth. And my mom for 23 years, my mom taught a Sunday school class for international students up in Gainesville. And one of her former members of her Sunday school class who was from Korea, who married an American guy, and her daughter, my mom was there when her daughter was born. They came to share the day too. So it made it for a very special day.
Yeah.
And my mom's 96, so every time we have an Easter is a special day for her.
Yes, it is. Wonderful. God bless her. And God bless your family, friends. Thank you for another good show. Be well, my friend. You're looking good. You're writing good. People are talking about you like you're 50 years old again, dude. Keep it up. Right?
I was 50 once, buddy.
No, not recently.
I told this gal who was checking me out at
wait. Checking
the
you
other
out.
day, and she said
Don't say it like that. Don't say checking you out.
She looks at my ID and she says, "You're 73?" I said, "I am." I said, "How old are you?" She said, 18. I said, I was 18. I said, I was 18 once. And she looked at me like, my gosh, you really were? And I'm like, yeah,
like a relic.
55 years ago.
Yeah. I have to tell you the story now. I wasn't going to, but I somehow stumbled across the column that you wrote about my late wife, Joni, today. Beautifully written by you, by the way. Beautiful. And I had to remember the story about when we started going to the airport and we started getting to a point where we're old enough, we didn't have to take our shoes off anymore, because after like 70, they said, come on through, you don't have to do that. And then if you get a wheelchair and whatever, you get certain privileges. So this one guy came up to get us one day, put her in a wheelchair and whatever. And he says, and she didn't take her shoes. She took her shoes off. And he said, ma'am, you can't, you got to keep your shoes on. She said, no, I don't. She said, I'm 70. And they said, what are they putting that water down there? I got to tell you, what are they putting water? Because you know how she looked at that age. And so,
Miss Joni, looking at me, I'm over at your house. Franz, you need a haircut.
Oh yeah.
She says,
she
says, you want me to go get my stuff? I'll do it right here. She would have. Oh my gosh.
And she told Tom Spence, you should be dating that girl and you drink too much.
Sometimes, I know we're running late, but I want to add something here. And I hope everybody who's listening and watching will remember this. Savor the good moments. As it's like I'm talking about savoring the championship. Savor the good moments. You never know when they're going to be gone. I have a friend of mine named Bo Laverne, who's a big-time Gator fan up in Charlotte, who Friday night, his 22-year-old son was in a car accident, and they're tomorrow morning, and they're evaluating him now to see about which organs that he has can be donated. You savor the good moments because they can be gone in a flash.
Yeah.
And you never know when the last breath is going to be taken. That's all in God's hands. And if it's in God's hands, you don't have anything to worry about. But my point is, you just don't know when it'll happen. So you got to live your life like, who was it once said, live your life like the next breath you take will be your last one. Well, yeah, you got to do that. So I hope you'll do that. And I hope you guys will be around a long time watching the Gators and enjoying it. Enjoy the moments.
I will end this with a final note just to say, and you made a post on it, that my son made a post today on Facebook that will knock your socks off.
Yes, he did.
His Easter 18 years ago, life altering. And he said something that took a lot of courage to say. And I'm proud of him, Brenda. I'm proud of you. So let me end it with that and say I'm thankful. Franz, thank you so much, brother.
Thank you. And Brendan, I'm proud of you too.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. All right, folks, we're going to end up the night here with this message. Sorry we got a little bit into personal stuff there, but sometimes you got to do that. I want to say how much I appreciate these people for what they're doing. We need sponsors. And by the way, we have a new sponsor package we're putting together. If you will get in touch with me, I will tell you how you might be involved. And we'll have some other places we're taking advertising from, including up here in the Panhandle. So stay tuned for that. But first, I want to tell you about my good friends and the people who do this a great job sponsoring this show, Titan MRI Imaging. So it's called now Titan MRI and Imaging. They acquired Highfield MRI. Joe Colorio started Highfield in 1997. Now he's back, Titan MRI and Imaging. Now it's 3 locations to serve you, 2 in Gainesville with Park Avenue location and the Millennium Center, and 1 in Lake City serving all of Columbia County and also Valdosta, Georgia. Titan MRI and Imaging offers the same great customer service, except insurance, where you can go through their convenient self-pay option and use that as well. They offer MRIs, CAT scans, X-rays, ultrasounds, easy scheduling. If you can't make it during the week, they'll make it for you at night. Many options and larger MRI machines for patient comfort so you don't get any claustrophobia. So check them out. They're there somewhere around you. Come into Ocala soon. Titan MRI and Imaging. Thank you to our guests tonight. Great guests. We didn't get a chance to talk to Scott Carter tonight, but we did have Franz. And Shane was great. We'll talk to you on Shane's show tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock Eastern time. We'll be on there with him. Check us out. I want to thank all my guests, all my advertisers, and I want to thank you for staying with us and supporting this program as you do. Grateful for that. Have a great night, folks.